Welcome back with Level Up Games. Ram here interviewing tonight's undefeateds, Ryan Freeburger and Jeff Carr for our Legacy Locals. How are you doing tonight, guys?
Good. How are you, Ram?
Doing quite all right. Thanks for asking it. I wanted to know, what deck were you guys playing tonight?
Delver.
Delver.
Said it was dead.
They were wrong.
Yeah.
Glad to hear. So I understand that even though you guys are playing a similar or same deck in principle, you have some slightly different builds. You all want to talk about what your builds were for tonight?
Yeah, so I was playing the Just Guy variant, which is headlined by new card 4th Erolingus, which I'm sure I butchered the pronunciation of.
Not a Lord of the Rings flavor.
Not a Lord of the Rings head, no. This card is really good because you just a lot of the times you just cast it for 0 red-white, which just creates a trigger where you take the Monarch on turn 2 if you played a Delver or a DRC on 1, which is incredibly powerful in grinding games because the Monarch is really dumb, and if you can consistently get it and keep it, you're going to win that game. So it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, I played black for Bowmasters and also Cabal Therapy. Cabal Therapy is like really the MVP. I played Bowmasters at Baltimore, and the card was good. Like some matchups, it's more of a dud than others, but I found a lot of uses for the card I didn't expect kind of coming into the tournament. Like I played against 8 casts, and I knew the card would be like okay, but they play Thought Monitor, I flash in Bowmasters. All they get is the cards. I get to clear the body. So I was still sold on playing the black splash, and we were actually talking. I saw the white splash this weekend, and we were talking about I feel like Snuff Out and Plow are pretty similarly positioned right now in terms of outside of Merit Lage and Uro, they're effectively the same card, I would argue. Like both has its pros and cons. But I hadn't tried 4th yet, so it's interesting like the dynamic of 4th versus Bowmasters.
Right, and I had tried Bowmasters and seen it played a lot at SG Baltimore, and I was never very impressed with it. Yes, it was impactful. Yes, it was good, but it wasn't insane. It wasn't like revitalizing Delver.
It's a role player.
Yeah, it's definitely a role player. It's not the newest expressive iteration, that's for sure.
And it doesn't replace EI because it's not card advantage.
Right.
Like you'll see in my list, I play Charter Course, and like Charter Course is my EI replacement.
Yeah.
This is just like a role player.
This is our EI replacement because it's just 2 mana. You can actually play it on turn 2 though profitably this one.
One thing I like about Erolingus though is you can flip Delver with it, and it's a sorcery for DRC, and you can get it back with Mystic Sanctuary, where like Bowmaster doesn't have those synergies.
Yeah, Mystic Sanctuary, that card for like 2 and then for 3 is insane.
Yeah, it just reminds me of some of like the old like Entreat with old Miracles.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's really sick to see the brewing that goes on even after any set, not just specific to Lord of the Rings so far, just being able to see all the new twists and takes on existing builds, especially in the older formats. And here we are tonight getting to see that even with like different takes, like you'd still put up like very similar paths where you're just jamming and having a good time. So I understand that you also had some good moments tonight. Let's start with you, Ryan. What was a cool play you had with your build?
Mine was more just so the recurability. Every single time my Reanimator opponent saw that card, they were like, it's gotta go, it's gotta go, it's gotta go. So just having it in the deck and the threat of Monarch scared them that they kept letting me keep cantrips. So I kept like they had an Archon. I'm just like, okay, it's going. I'm going to Swords this because I had to take Lord there because the card's just so powerful. And it's just a really solid card. And I think I've never cast it with its X cost in Delver. I don't expect to ever cast it with an X cost higher than 0.
If you do, you're probably winning.
Right, if you're just winning the game on the spot, it's Fireball at that point. Woohoo.
Fair enough. And what about you, Jeff? What was your sick play tonight?
I had a sick turn, which Bowmasters helped set up, but it was really Cabal Therapy. I said was also the MVP. Freeburger stalled this, so I'm playing against Cephaloid Breakfast, the Illusionist combo deck, and my opponent has 4 cards in hand. I have a Brazen Borrower on board and an Orc, and I know my opponent has Triumph from St. Catherine on top of their deck, and that's a really powerful card. I'd bounced it with Brazen Borrower, they'd brainstormed it back, so I have this 5/5 that I have to beat coming. And I am able to draw Surgical for turn, and I have Cabal Therapy in my hand. So I Cabal Therapy, and I named, what was the first? I named Illusionist. I named Illusionist, so I didn't die to the combo. Hit that, and then the rest of their hand was Prismatic Ending, Fetch Land, Nomads. So then I got to Surgical the Prismatic Ending in their yard to take the ending from their hand, and they'll shuffle away the Triumph from St. Catherine, and then flash back the Therapy sacking my Orc to then take Nomads. So I left them drawing to basically nothing against my Brazen Borrower, and I was like incredibly ahead, and we play these turns where like my opponent draws, he naturally Miracles a Triumph into an Urza Saga, I draw Meltdown and Murktide. But having the black cards on my deck helped facilitate this like really powerful turn that I wouldn't have had without those black cards. I was just playing blue red.
Right, and I was not considering Cabal Therapy when I thought of Bowmaster because I was thinking that the Orc was pretty anemic. It's just a 1/1 most of the time. Maybe it's a 4/4 if you're very lucky and you flashed in a Brainstorm. So I really like Cabal Therapy, almost akin to the old days of Young Pyromancer, where you just get a free thing to sack, and it's a very, very powerful interaction. I'm going to be looking into that probably next week and trying that version out.
Yeah, I was like, you'll see in my sideboard, I played like an Ob Nixilis, the one with Casualty. It didn't come up, but I want to play these cards to like make Bowmasters better. Because if you look at the list that won the Moto Challenge this weekend, I think on Sunday, I was playing Thoughtseize, and I'm like, well, Thoughtseize and Therapy are close to the same card, but when I have Bowmaster in my deck, Therapy might just be better. So. Yeah.
Yeah, no, once again, it's really sick to see all the different takes choiced on the existing builds. It's just messing around, experimenting, especially in a format like this where there is technically a lot of room for that on existing archetypes. But I just want to congratulate both of you again for getting the dubs on the classic deck Delver with a bunch of cool twists with the new set stuff. Is there anything you wanted to say before we close off tonight?
Yeah, I'm calling out Ryan Freeburger. We're playing a grudge match next week after we both went 3-0.
I'm in.
Shout out Alex Rubin. He got top 4 at the Pokemon event in Puerto Rico this weekend. So I used to go to him for Delver advice, but now I know he's a Pokemon savant now. I want his Ash Ketchum wave, so I'm going to go to my friend Ryan Freeburger for Delver advice now.
You can tune in the Legacy Pit to see that.
Yeah, you should play this deck on the pit this weekend.
I'm going to play that deck on the pit.
Oh, fair enough. We'll play both.
We'll play that this weekend.
Fair enough. Thank you both, gentlemen. You have a good night.
Yeah.